A short, very short poem from the Fireman's Journal, October 1879, which reads as follows. When fire is cried and danger nigh, God and the fireman is the people's cry. But when 'tis out and all things righted, God is sometimes forgotten and the fireman sometimes slighted. It is my hope that God is not forgotten, and we are here this evening to make certain that the firemen are indeed not forgotten, not slighted. May I now call upon Chief Michael Mansfield of the Andover Fire Department to begin our presentation of the Firefighters of the Year. Chief?
Thanks very much, Mark. Good evening. Before I get started, I'd like to thank Wheeler Greater North Andover and Scott Emerson as well for everything that they do in sponsoring this event every single year. I'd also like to extend my appreciation and Andover Fire Rescue's appreciation for the entire Exchange Club for putting this event on. It means a lot to the men and women who are recognized this evening each and every year, and hopefully it will continue. Most in public safety don't want to be recognized for the work that they do, especially when the work performed is extraordinary and has a profound effect on people's lives. It's events like these that have been brought forward to you tonight that allow the general public an opportunity to see through different media outlets the work that these men and women do each and every day is incredible. The event that I'm going to bring forward to you tonight occurred on November 18, 2012 at 23:38 hours, where the Andover Public Safety Communications Center received a 911 telephone call for the report of a building fire at 8 Crescent Drive. The caller on the other end of the phone stated that she thought the fire was in apartment 1, which was on the first floor of a 3-story multi-unit occupancy. While the Andover Fire Rescue apparatus was responding to the scene, the communications dispatch 911 phones began to ring with multiple calls, reporting smoke in the hallways of the building. At 23:51 hours, Deputy Chief Connors, who was the incident commander at the time, arrived on scene and reported smoke showing from the complex. Within 1 minute of arrival, Deputy Connors also had performed a size-up of the building, identified that there was a fire in apartment 1, as had been reported in the 911 telephone calls, and that there were people trapped on the upper floors of the building. In addition, an occupant was seen standing on a balcony being enveloped in thick, acrid smoke that began to consume the entire building. Upon arrival, the first apparatus, which was Engine 2, the crew of Lieutenant Kyle Murphy, Firefighter Todd Richardson, and Firefighter John GANGI, they too performed a size-up, and under the direction of Deputy Connors, estimated what size ground ladder they were going to need, and began to not only enter the building, Firefighter GANGI and Lieutenant Kyle Murphy entered the building to go look for the occupant that was in and around the balcony at the time. Todd Richardson went to the Engine 2 and grabbed the ladder and deployed that ladder to that balcony, at which time that occupant appeared, and where Firefighter Todd Richardson told that occupant basically not move, don't go back into the building. And at that point in time, Lieutenant Kyle Murphy and Firefighter GANGI were able to grab her, hand her over to Todd Richardson and another firefighter, and they were able to get her extricated from the building over a ladder with the help of those firefighters. While the balcony rescue was taking place, or simultaneously, there was another rescue also taking place by an additional crew inside the smoke-filled building, where they were performing systematic searches of each apartment on each floor. The second rescue was performed by the Ambulance 1 crew, where they located a trapped elderly woman who could not get out of the building due to the conditions. Firefighter EMT Christopher LAVERTY and Firefighter EMT Kevin FARRAGHER notified the incident commander that they had located another woman on an upper floor and that they were going to have to physically remove her from the building to safety. The ambulance crew was able to convince the woman to go with them, even though the smoke was becoming thicker and thicker and there was zero visibility in the building. They were able to get her and physically assist her to safety. Once they got that woman to safety, firefighter Kevin Farragher went and assisted the Engine 2 crew with the removal of that woman that I just previously discussed from the balcony of her apartment. While these two rescues were ongoing, additional Andover fire rescue crews were completing their assigned duties that included additional searches of all the apartments, hallways, and balconies, as well as stretching hose lines into the building in place to extinguish the fire in apartment 1. If not for the quick action and teamwork of all the Andover fire personnel who responded to this incident and under the direct command of Deputy Chief Kevin Connors, this incident could have ended in tragedy, as so many other fires have recently. In the last 30 days, for those of you who don't know, in the last 30 days, there have been 8 fire-related deaths within the Commonwealth, many of them in similar occupancies that the crews responded to on November 18th of 2012. For the extraordinary efforts in meeting the mission of Andover Fire Rescue, which is to save lives, property, and protect the environment, I would like to congratulate and present to you Lieutenant Colonel Murphy, Firefighter Todd Richardson, Firefighter John GANGI, Firefighter EMT Christopher LAVERTY, and Firefighter EMT Kevin Farragher as Andover Fire Rescue's and the Exchange Club's 2012 Firefighters of the Year for Andover Fire.